Sorry. There we go. Can you guys hear me? Spaced it. Hopefully everything else is working. Well, let's start back over. What up? What up? Can you guys hear me now? A little thumbs up. I totally spaced on turning the mic on. I told you I was pinning it. I was running up and down the steps. Went from the basement out to the garage, ran up here, and then I forgot my water. Had to run back down. We got Brian. Zayden. Yeah. Grizzle Films. So what's going down, boys? So how's everybody's week been? What went down this past week? Did you guys have a good week? It is freezing here in the Midwest. Anybody that is from the Midwest knows it got really cold really quick. It is freezing. But I think we're getting some warm weather coming in this weekend. I think it's going to warm up a little bit. I think on Thursday it's going to shift and it's going to warm back up. So hopefully we can get... Brian was out riding on, what, Sunday? So yesterday? Didn't you go riding yesterday? And it was cold.
It's buffering.
Is it? Everything's...
Did you turn Wi-Fi off on the top? Turn Wi-Fi off.
Turn it off?
Yeah.
All right.
Just
That's fine. All right. Well, oh, what happened? What happened? How come it got all bright like that?
It probably has something to do with like this just being in the way.
Here, turn that down a little bit. Man, malfunctions tonight. Can you turn that down a little bit?
But did it actually go up or was it just the
It's
screen?
bright. It's like...
But I don't...
No. Turn it down.
It doesn't go.
It needs it. No. Turn it down.
This is as far as it goes.
Really?
It's something with the screen.
Man, we're having some malfunctions tonight. I don't know what happened with all of our settings, but everything looks off. Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, maybe it was
it is what it is. All right, hey, low budget operation, big fights. I don't know what's going on here. We're locking up. The sound's off.
It's still buffering.
Is it? What's going down? I don't know what's going on. Keeps buffering here. Everything should be fine. It's plugged directly into the internet. No windows are open. Internet's off. It looks really bright.
You didn't, I don't know.
It was fine for a second. So is it still jacked up? Or is it working? No, that made it worse. Yeah, buffering a lot. It keeps buffering. How do I get the thing? Let's see. How do I get the adjustments up?
Okay, I think I need you to do something for me. Can you click on this?
Here, hold on. We're trying to make some adjustments here.
Like move this out of the way. This needs to go. Just click this for a second.
All right, hold on, guys.
Maybe just you're gonna have to go with that tonight. I don't know.
No, just leave it. It's fine. Hey.
Then turn the brightness. Go up. Turn the brightness down a little. It shouldn't have done that. There's something wrong.
All right. Well, hey, we're gonna run it. I don't.
It made it worse.
It's just whatever.
Everyone says it's horrible. Just end it.
Hey.
Seriously, just forget.
Perry, you look like powdered milk. I don't know what happened, dude.
That looks worse. You're right.
Can you pull that back? Just pull it away from me. There you go. Is that better? No, I don't know. Ghost.
You need to put the brightness back to normal.
No. Hey, malfunction here. What's going on? I don't know, dude.
Oh my gosh, it's seriously what happened? What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Have color.
So what should we do here?
The ghost of Christmas past.
Is it bad? Huh. All right, I don't know what happened, dude.
You got fuzz on you.
Don't touch me. We're having a bad night here.
We had a bad day.
All right, so hey. Up. What? All right. Is that better? Everything that would have went wrong is going on wrong.
It looks better.
Just wing it.
It looks better.
All right. Hey, leave it. Don't touch anything. We're going like this. It's buffering. Don't know what happened to our lighting. Our whole program just went down. Sums up for the wraps the way the day has went, because we've had one of those days today where everything is just been one of those days. Let's just say that. We all have these days, and we get fired up. And I'm tell you what, I'm pretty cool, pretty chill, but sometimes I feel like drop kicking things. And today I felt like doing some drop kicks because everything was going wrong. And then this just the icing on the cake. Hey, it is what it is. All right, well, hey. Normally, if you're new here, hey, sorry for all the jacked up stuff. We normally got our stuff together. We're having a little technical difficulties, but hey, thanks for joining us. We do this every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. We call it Moto Mondays. We talk about moto, anything from training, riding, bike setup, anything you want. And I try to get to everybody's question. Always go to the top, and I'll scroll right through. What would I like to do is put the question marks up there. I mean, everybody that's here week after week knows that, but for the new guys, put the question marks up so I can just find your questions from the comments.
Only every other word.
Really?
It's buffering that bad. I've never. It's.
Man. Technical problems. There shouldn't. I have no idea why you guys can't hear me. Everything is the same as it always been. Huh. Well, I don't know what's up. Can't hear you. Just locking up. Big Fight says it's locking up. No reason it should be locking up. Man. Struggle bus tonight, huh? All right, so thumbs up. Any sound? Or is it locked up? It's a Democrat. I'm laughing at Brian. I can hear clear. All right, hey, well, let's go for it. We're just going to wing it. A couple updates. Let's see what's going down. We are a week out from Christmas, so obviously we got Christmas coming up. January school will be popping up at the end of... It's going to be in California, so the next few classes, we're going to be planning on our California classes, so they'll be up on the website very shortly. Ronnie Faisst MX, if you want to check it out. Any information you need on moto schools or moto merch, go to ronniefeistmx.com. First January class will be January 30th, Lake Elsinore in California, and that'll be available to start booking soon. I'm taking 5 guys for 5 hours, semi-private moto class, California, and then I'll do one in February and in March, and then I'll probably pick them up back here in April for sure. And if the weather starts to get good early, I might throw a March class in here as well. But last year I started in April. And, or no, did I start in May? I might have, because of the rain. I remember it rained a ton, and the rain was messing us up. But anyway, plan on spring back here in the Midwest. And but I'll keep all you guys posted on as dates are coming out. Also, if you want to follow me on all my pages, at Ronnie Faisst. And like I said, we call this here Moto Mondays because we do it on Monday nights. Yeah, cook it up. And also, last thing is, yeah, the new hoodie just dropped. Actually, I seriously came straight from the screen printers, picked it up, and grabbed it. So it is live on the site right now. And I haven't did a post because I like to save things for you guys and let you guys get the first grabs. So it is on the site. It's live. The MOTOLIFE, that is our new design. We had a MOTOLIFE t-shirt out last year, and then I wanted to come up with a new design and just give you a little background on how this design came out, because it took us a little while to get it. So basically, obviously MOTOLIFE, here's the deal. If you ride motocross, you ride freestyle motocross, you ride dirt bikes, you load your bike up, you drive for hours across the country to go race for a trophy, some of us for money, crash, break bones. This is the deal. That's the MOTOLIFE. As you train, you eat, you do all this stuff surrounded around moto and dirt bikes, and that is the MOTOLIFE. So if all of us can relate to it, because that's what we do. I've been doing it for 30 plus years living this lifestyle. And I've been hashtagging MOTOLIFE and living the MOTOLIFE for a long time. And that's where last year I'm like, hey, I'm going to throw it on a t-shirt, and threw it on a t-shirt. But this design, what originally I wanted to do, I was thinking like, hey, I'm going to come up with like a throwback Moto design. I'm gonna do MOTOLIFE, and I originally was gonna do it on these are our new hats. This is gonna be a marked hat, but I like these trucker style foam old school throwback hats, and I was gonna that's originally what this design was gonna go on. It was gonna be on a trucker hat, and my idea was, you guys remember Moto World? Like the old, like, dude, if you grew up in like my time, 80s, 90s, mostly the 80s, it was Moto World. I think they might have been on in the 90s a little bit, but for sure in the 80s. So Moto World, I was like, that's where you had to watch. That's where all the races came on. You watched Moto World if you were growing up in the 80s. So I was thinking like, maybe it'd be cool to come up with a design and kind of have the Moto, like kind of do like the Moto World font and design. So we kind of started with that, and we kind of went off of the old school. It's where we kind of cut the lines, but we changed the font. Like, it didn't look cool. We tried to go super old school and do the MOTOLIFE in the old school Moto World font with the way they wrote it. And originally, like I said, I was going to put it on a trucker hat, so we kept trying to make it fit on a hat and make it look right, and just didn't work. We couldn't get it to work. And then we just kept messing with it and tweaking with it, and we landed with this one, and we were pumped on it. We thought this one looked cool, so we threw it, and we thought it looked the best on a hoodie, and that's why it ended up on a hoodie and not a t-shirt or a throwback hat. So anyway, so maybe look it up. You guys want to go look at look it up, the old school Moto. Like, some of you guys might even know what Moto World was because you guys are way too young, but I thought it would have been a cool, like, I don't know if you guys ever see me wear that. I have another hat. It's basically an old throwback trucker hat, and it says Camel Smoker's Cross. And obviously, if anyone's from, you remember, if you're, like I said, if you're older, you remember Camel was the title sponsor of the Supercross back in like the 80s. So Camel Smoker Cross, it's the two smokers, it's the smoker cross. Everyone rode two strokes back then. So I have a cool throwback hat. But that's kind of what triggered the idea. I was like wearing that hat, and I'm like looking at it one day, and I'm like, this is a cool hat. It's got like the old title sponsor of the Supercross on it. It says smoker cross for the two strokes, which I know a lot of you guys are two stroke people. It's a cool hat. And I don't know who even gave it to me. Someone out in Cali. I used to work at Shift gave it to me. Anyway, but that's what sparked the idea. And I'm like, man, I should do a cool like throwback. Like, and I started thinking like, what's cool from the 80s, like a Moto. And then Moto World like hit me. I'm like, yeah, Moto World was the shiz. So I'm like, all right. And anyway, so that's where it all started, and that's how we came up with the MOTOLIFE design. It was inspired by Moto World. But anyway, a little excited about the design. I'll just say this. We have our RMX was never supposed to be, when I started RMX, it was never like, hey, I'm gonna start a apparel line. It was always a motocross school. I got pictures of me on, I just even saw one on, I was on a 2007 CR 250 all red black frame. I just posted a picture of it. I just posted a picture. Anyway, on the swing arm of that bike, I have RMX motocross schools. So the vision for RMX was always to teach. I always wanted to teach. And this is way back then. I remember I had it on my swing arm in 2012 when I was racing speed and style. And I was going to do it, and because things were slowing down a little bit in freestyle, and then I went to like speed and style, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna start coaching. But then the Nuclear Cowboy Tour came into play, and they put us on the road we did that tour for like 4 years or so. So then actually sucked up all my time, and then I never did it. I was like, shoot, I didn't have a time to start doing RMX. So anyway, what I was getting at, the vision for RMX was always to teach moto. But the thing is, I always loved apparel, and like I said, I had, a lot of you guys know I had Shuei. So it was like, wanted to do apparel way back then, had my own apparel line, was called Shuei Clothing. And then I ended up walking away from that because I had an exclusive deal with Metal Militia, and I couldn't have the two, so I had to pick the one. So obviously, took the contract that was paying and not the business that wasn't making any money. But anyway, so I've always wanted to do that. But now it's cool. We got the motocross schools going, and to launch the apparel for me is fun. That's why I get excited. I like working with the designers. I love working with the guys and coming up with a concept, an idea, and then figuring it out and putting it on a piece of apparel that looks cool, that we can wear and you know, that you guys can rock and other people can rock. So that's fun for me. And now I get to do that. It's kind of cool because I look back and I'm like, man, it's kind of sweet. Like, I had to walk away from Shuei because I had a contract that was, you had to make a living end of the day. And then there was, all these years went by, you know, and then Militia kind of walked, you know, kind of ran its course and went away. And then I was like, I'm gonna do another brand. I'm gonna do my own brand. You know, my Malicious deal's done. So then I was gonna start another company called Lux Nova, which means new light. And I went, and this was gonna be a little bit more higher end, like streetwear, like more of a streetwear brand, not necessarily a moto brand. And went through everything. It was a lot of cut and sew pieces, had everything ready to go. And then I ended up meeting Mel, or not meeting Mel, but reconnecting with Mel like right around that time. And ended up walking away from that and didn't never do that. But now it's kind of cool because I like left two times. I walked away from 2 companies, apparel companies. But now it's cool. Retired, teaching, doing what I always wanted to do, teach. And now I get to do apparel not only for my schools, RMX got our apparel, but I also get to do it for our ministry as well. We have a brand called Mark Collective that has men and women's apparel. And that's actually what I was working on all day today before I ran to pick up the screen printers, is designing all that stuff. And like I said, that's fun to me. I like working. I've always liked the clothing, always liked the apparel, but creating it and working with the designers and then putting out cool stuff is fun. So I love it. So I'm pumped to get that going because a lot of you guys know that to hear week after week, we brought this in-house now. So we run RMX right out of the basement. We've had, and like we started with another company. Same thing with Mark Collective. We had another company running it, and now we're bringing everything in-house. So the majority of the basement's going to be marked because marked is bigger because it has men and women's. And we have other accessories and stuff. Mel's going to be doing some really good, cool like Bibles, journals. And she's got a lot of ideas. So we don't give you guys all the secrets. Let me quit. It's already 7:21. I'm here. All right, so let's get Brian up here first. He says, what kind of bars are you running on your Husky? And for taller guys, what would you recommend? All right, I actually run a really low bar. I think I told you this when we were hanging out at the track. When we first were hanging out at Adrenaline that day. I honestly run like a Carmichael bend. So it's a pro taper, but it's like the lowest, like it's super low, straight. And the reason why, you're taller than me, but I'm not short. You know, I'm 6 foot. The reason I went with that is when I used to run freestyle, I ran taller bars. But then when I went into speed and style, I was having trouble because I was running a stiff bike because I still had to jump the ramp and do tricks. I was having trouble getting my bike to turn. It never really wanted to set in the corner as well with the forks being so stiff. And I think it was actually Deegan was like, yo, you need to try. He's like, bring your bars back a little bit. And so, because I used to run them super tall, like almost too far forward. I just always liked them higher up when I did freestyle. So then I scooted them back a little bit. And I'm like, oh yeah, that did help. And then he's like, you ought to try like ride my bike. He had a lower bar on. He's like, try that. So I tried it and I rode his bike and I'm like, whoa, it's like the bike turned way better than mine. So I went to a lower bend bar and I kind of worked my way down because I wasn't on the Carmichael bend until I actually switched to Husky because they came with that on there. So when I got my Husky, it was even a lower bend bar than I was using in speed and style. But I'm saying I prefer the lower bar because I think my bike turns better. And I try to run my bars in line with my fork. So if you were to look at your bike from the side and you'd see the angle of your fork, I try to line my bar up so my bar is directly like this. Like I honestly used to run my bar like up, like to where it was over top of the fork, but now I'm straight in line. Even maybe in a hairbacks, I still feel like that's comfortable. And like I said, I do that now because I think the bike actually handles better and turns better. But for you, being a super tall guy, the bar that I did run before I went all the way to where I'm at now was a Kawasaki High. And it's a pro taper bend as well. So you could probably just Google that and find a Kawasaki High bend. And it'll say right on it, KX High. I just remember it saying that all the time. So look for a KX High. It's probably one of the tallest bars out there that I know of. and I used it. And he says, what up with the goat and the head? Wait, what up with the goat that headbutted Bubba and Krusty 7? I think it was. Did Bubba intentionally do that? I don't remember the goat that headbutt. Man, I don't remember that one. I'll have to watch, like, Krusty 7. Dude, there's so many Krusties. It's so hard to, like, remember all of them. It's crazy that they made that many videos. But I don't remember that clip. I'll have to watch. I don't even know if I have. Liam. Sorry, dude. I got it. What up? I said, what up? Feist, any classes in Kansas this spring, summer? Yes. So the Kansas, Missouri classes will kick off either March or April, and they'll run every single month, semi-private, 5 riders, 5 hours from at least April to November. And that's going to be the program I'm going to run as long as I'm here in the mid. Get ready. All right, so we got Monroe up in here. What up, brother? So I got to get past all the what happened with the... All right, here, let's get Fred up here. It says, does Mel ever ride, and has she ever? She doesn't, not with me. I mean, she barely even goes to the track. But I'm trying to think. She used to have a quad, I think she told me when she was a kid. So she grew up with a quad. But I don't think she's ever really dirt bike rode. She hit the 4-wheeler on growing up, but so she don't come to the motocross track that often. And when she does, she normally lasts about like an hour and a half, and she's like, I should have stayed home. All right, so we got Garth here. It says, any tips for getting your legs higher on seat grabs? Yeah, that's a cool one. All right, so here's the deal. Let your butt, not your bow, let your butt rotate up. So when you, so think about that. And then here's another thing. The sooner you start the trick, the more time you have. So practice coming off the lip and jumping as soon as you leave. So as soon as you leave, like compressing preloads into the ramp like this, and it leaves, it unloads. As you compress into the ramp and it unloads use that unload of the suspension as a jump to pop with the sooner you pop and the sooner you jump, the more time you have to do your trick. So start getting in the habit of starting early, as soon as that bike's leaving. So preload with it, unload with as it unloads off the ramp. But here's the deal. To get your legs up higher, let your butt rotate up. Practice staying in the ball. Like jump. Once you get your grab, stay cannonballed out. What I mean by that is just balled up and let your butt rotate as far up as it can. Once your butt is already poked up, then stick your legs out. So avoid trying to just poke your legs out quick. Let the body rotate. And another thing that's going to help your body rotate or get your butt up higher is look through. Your body always follows your head. So once you grab, if you go like this and look through the ball, look through your arms, kind of like you're doing a look back seat grab, that's going to automatically rotate your body, 4 to 6 inches easy. So, but be patient with it and let the butt get up, rotate up before sticking out the legs. That's poking the legs should be the last thing you do. And when you poke your legs, all you have to do, by the time you stick out, like if you rotate here and poke your legs out, you're going to be like a heart attack. So that's what I'm saying. Learn how to rotate like this, because if you only rotate here and then you stick your legs out, you're going to be off the back like 2000 style. So that's what I'm saying. Like let this rotate like that, then kick. Boom. And to have somebody film you, that's the thing. If you get someone out there, have someone film you every day that you're doing seat grabs so you can watch yourself and you study yourself, and then you learn how to just self-coach yourself. And as you're getting better, you'll start to just get motivated because you'll just see yourself just slowly going. It'll go, and it'll just start creeping its way up until you can do them straight up and down. But always have someone, if you can, get you on film, because it speeds up the learning process big time. All right, let's see here. Let's get Grizzle. Grizzle Films up in here. He says, what do you say is the best gap to learn tricks at 60 plus to the knuckle, or depends on the rider, as I am 58 to the knuckle, maybe 61, but I feel won't a bit for a grab before I try a grab checks. Wait. Maybe 61 to landing, but Phil, I want a bit for gap before I grab tricks. I mean, I don't know if I'm reading that right, but what I'm getting at is that you're just saying, all right, what's the best distance to learn tricks at? You know, you're saying you're 58 to the knuckle, you're landing at 61. Standard is 75 to the sweet spot, so that means the knuckle is going to be 72, 73-ish, right around there. Everyone's kind of has, you know, that's pretty standard. But there's some guys that are like, I'm 75 to the knuckle all the time, and, you know, you're landing at 78. Some other guys are, you know, 71, 72 to the knuckle. Whatever. Get in that ballpark to where you're at, it's fine. But I think you could learn tricks at a 60-foot gap. I mean, it's, in my opinion, it's harder because you have less time to do your trick. When you have a bigger gap, gives you more time, makes it easier. So, but here's the deal: when you 60, I'd say 60 foot's the smallest you want to go. Anything smaller, because even in those indoor arenas when we had it really tight, 60 was pretty much our smallest jump, and you had to be like on it. You had to pop your trick fast and get it out there and then get back really fast. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. But here's the thing: when you do learn a trick on a smaller jump like that, a 60-foot jump, and then you get to a 75-foot jump, it feels so much easier because you got all that extra time. So it's not bad to learn on a smaller jump, but I wouldn't go any smaller than where you're at. Keep it at 58 to the knuckle, 60 foot, and then once you get comfortable, I would scoot it up to where you're 65 to the sweet spot, and then you know, move it up little by little until I mean you could leave it at 70 all day long and do tricks. But 75 is just that much better in my opinion. And it's funny, like when you don't think scooting the ramp 3 foot will give you that much more time, but it really does. Like you can move the ramp a little bit and then hit the jump and you're like, whoa, like it really does give you that much little bit of extra time, makes the trick that much easier. But like I said, much more like popping them off quick. Because you don't have that extra hang time. All right, so let's get Dan B up in here. And he plans to bring the RMX coffee mug. Yes, so that's funny that I was actually working on the Mark coffee mugs today. But yeah, we're going to bring back the RMX coffee mug. That will, we're going to come up with a new design for one. But yeah, be on the lookout for one of those. He says, I use mine every morning, but chipped it the other day. All right. We're definitely the company that we're working with to get our mugs done are so backed up. That's the email I got this week. Is we're not taking any more orders. We're so backed up from Christmas. It's 21 days before we'll even get to you guys. So we're like, but we'll have them on both sides. Money. Oh, here's Trent. So we gotta give Trent a little shout out. So Trent is like, I don't know how long Trent's been on here, but Trent is obviously who I was working with to get this Hoodie Dial. So Trent did the artwork. He did. Remember I talked to you guys before. He did the artwork for our banners, our Just Pin It banners, and then I worked with him on this MOTOLIFE, getting this all dialed in. So give a little shout out to him. Let's see. He says, "Hey brother, keep me in your prayers. They think I may have COVID." All right. Well, Lord heal Trent of the COVID in Jesus' name, and we'll be praying for you. Me and Mel had it, dude. It's like a flu. So I'm sure you're going to be good. The healing rate for young people is like 99% or something crazy. So you should be good, but we'll definitely keep you in our prayers. And a little shout out for the hoodie, dude. Little shout out. All right, so we got Liam up here again. Liam, why do I always say that name wrong? It's tricky the way he spells it. Did you ever ride Winter X when they had studs on their tires? Yes, I rode it in... I believe I rode it. How many times did we go there, Big Feist? 2 or 3 times. But it was actually my first medal for X Games in 2006. I got a bronze medal at Winter X Games on the snow. But I believe I rode there. I feel like I rode there 3 times. I feel like I rode there 2004, 2005, and then 2006 was the last year that they had Winter X for dirt bikes. And then that was it. They haven't been back since. And I don't think they should. That's sketchy up there on a dirt bike. All right, so let's get Mo up here. It says, which is better than a 2 stroker? Wait, which is better than a 2-stroker or the 4-stroker? Which is better, 2-stroker or 4-stroker? I prefer 4-stroke, in my opinion. I'm just a 4-stroke guy. I feel like they're just easier to ride. It's like cheater bikes, in my opinion, especially when you ride a 450 and it has all that extra torque. It's just, in my opinion, you don't have to work as hard. I feel like 2-strokes is just a lot of work. And then same thing, like if you ride a 250F 4-stroke compared to a 450F 4-stroke, I feel like the 250F 4-stroke, you got to work harder than the 450. The 450, you just get away with everything easy because it has so much torque. But personal preference, and I'm just a 4-stroker now. I sold out, man. I used to only ride 2-strokes, and then I got a 4-stroke, and I could never go back. All right, wait. Wait, what is that? Would you guys just... All right, the Mel's saying something. Dan, I told Ronnie he needs to have the mugs. Yeah, Mel's always telling me what she know. You guys know how she does it. Always up here cracking the whip. He says, would you guys just... Wait, would you guys get just pennant coffee mugs? Yeah, that was one thing that we were doing. The old coffee mugs were small. So we're bumping up to the 15 ounces. That was an upgrade for the coffee mugs for the RMX ones. The marked ones already came on. First, just pennant. I think we had just pennant MOTOLIFE ones maybe. But they had black handles, black inside. Well, you couldn't get those on a 15. I coffee in the morning, so we're going... Oh, wait, that just popped up. There you go. Perfect. Big Mo here. Are you going to give tutorials again? Like the how-tos? Yes. That was one thing we didn't get to do this week was film, and I had it scheduled for that nice Thursday. Anyone that was here in the Midwest on Thursday, it was seriously like 60 degrees, and I was scheduled to go film, but my filmer got stuck at the DMV, and we had to cancel. So... all good, but yes, I'm going to be doing some more how-tos. The next one is going to be on how to jump a ramp probably, and I'm going to go jump the freestyle ramp and talk about the difference between, because here's the deal, jumping a dirt bike is jumping a dirt bike. I don't care if you jump dirt or you jump a ramp. You know how to jump dirt, you can jump a ramp. It's like, doesn't really change the jumping technique, but the way that you approach the ramp, that type of stuff does change a little bit compared to, motocross style, you're going to want to race, right? Your motocross, you're going to want to race, you're going to want to absorb it, you're going to want to suck it up, scrub it. That's not what you do when you jump a ramp. You're actually going to want to be in control and cruise towards it and then pop it and try to get, instead of absorbing it, you want to boost it. A freestyle ramp versus, motocross technique of carrying speed towards it rather than being in controlled speed. Here's the deal, in freestyle, you want to do a trick. So if you don't necessarily want to just be racing, because that whole time, if you're just rushing towards the ramp, gives you less time to set up. So if you can take your time towards the ramp, you can get set up and make sure you're ready to go and pop your trick. So a little bit of different technique when it comes to freestyle. But as far as jumping, that's always gonna, that stays the same. Body position, head position, throttle, clutch control, all that's the same when you jump. All right, so we look at Mo back up in here. It says, what advice do you have for privateers? Man, that's a good question, dude. Because I was a privateer, and I was a struggling privateer. Man, because it's hard being a privateer, because everybody, here's the deal. Everyone is so good out there, and there's so much competition. And those dudes who do have support, it's so much easier to have support than to be a privateer. So what you're competing in, it just makes it's hard for a privateer to compete against guys who are flying into the races, have mechanics, have bikes waiting for them, way better equipment, better suspension, better motor work, and the privateer rolls up, been driving all night. You drove yourself there. Some of you sleep in your vans. That's what I used to do. It's tough, but man, what's good advice? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, man, I feel like what's going on there? Somebody's ordering stuff. Someone's going big right now. I'm gonna turn that down. I'm just trying to think back. Like, I feel like it's tough, but it's not impossible. It's just tough. It's tough, but it's not impossible. There's a lot of privateers that have made it and have stayed with it. So I think that might be some of the best advice is is like if you're right there, like, because some of us, if you're like me, I wasn't right there. Like some of us were just way off. You know what I mean? But if you're right there, I would just stick with it, keep training, keep riding, keep pushing, because you've seen those dudes who have been right on that, like right there to where, and then as they stuck with it and their results improved, they got rides. So just sticking with it is probably it's probably good advice in the sense of I get it, man. Like that's the whole thing why I drove to California, because I didn't want to quit. I didn't want to give up my dream to ride a dirt bike, even though I had a transition from being a racer to a freestyle guy. The dream was just to ride the dirt bike at the end of the day. I loved riding. And whether I did tricks or did laps, I was still on the thing that made me happy. But so I just give you much props for being a privateer to even go out there and try to compete with those dudes, because it's no joke. And especially now, I bet right now to be a privateer and to race at the level where the guys are now compared to, 20 years ago when I was a privateer is on a whole different level. So just much props for just being a privateer and showing up week after week on your own budget, washing your own bikes and doing all this stuff yourself to get out there and try to compete with the best guys who got all the sweet deals. That's gnarly, dude. So much props. Big Feist says Moto Monday coffee mugs. 36. I'm reading you. I didn't drink coffee until I was late in my 30s. The whole time I competed, I didn't mess with none of it. I was so anal about what I put in the system, but now I'll drink 2-3 cups in the morning, be all so fired up, go to the gym, and just been pumping out sets the last couple days. I've been feeling good. Got back on my program here. I'm just reading. I feel like I don't know. I thought that might have been a question. Oh, up here again. Do racers walk MS tracks like they do Supercross tracks before racing? I haven't been to a pro national in a long time, but I used to. When I raced, I walked all the tracks. I looked at them all. I think I would. I don't know if they still do. I feel like when I went, they did. But dude, I don't know. I would think they did. Like, I know everyone does it. You're right. You always see everyone on press day walking the racetrack. But I would assume, why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you want to get eyes, like put eyes on the track and really like look at everything? I mean, maybe they don't walk the entire track because some of those outdoor tracks are pretty big and pretty gnarly. But I'm sure they look at sections. I would think so. At a national as a competitor. But that's a good question. I'm going to look for that. Anybody that goes to the nationals, be on the lookout on to see if you see anyone walking the track. So I would think yes, because think about it. Like when I feel like even when I teach a class, I always tell those dudes, like, when you're walking the track to look for this, and because you should kind of like, you should know where you want to be. You should be like, look at the track, and if you see a switchback, you should be like, okay, what's the fast line through here? Like, you know what I mean? Or do you want to rail the outside? Or like, I always try to like find ways to make the track short. So if you have this big, like a sweeper like this and a sweeper like that, can I come and kind of make a straightaway between point A and point B and cut all that extra track off? So I think a lot of that you see when you walk the track and look for those areas to where you can find those little sweet spots, Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So I would think so. And I would recommend it as a coach. I'd say get out there and look and know where you want to be. I walked every freestyle park and looked at all the jumps. I didn't just give it a bird's eye view from the stands and go, oh, that looks pretty gnarly. No, I walked down there and looked at the jumps and be like, hey, what does this really look like? Get up on the landing and like give it a good check out. So I think it's wise. Get out there and here's the deal. If you got one or two guys doing it and then you got 15, 20 other dudes not doing it, I'd rather be one of the dudes who are doing it. Why give the other guys, give anyone an advantage? Take every advantage opportunity you can to study what's available out there. All right, so let's get Jess Hunt. Bar position, lower for track, higher for FMX, or vice versa. I'd run lower for track, and I would pull them up a little bit for freestyle. But here's the deal: try not to go over the fork. I talked about this a little bit earlier. If you're gonna look at your bike from the side for the track, I would put them perfectly in line with the fork, if not a hair back. But just try to avoid putting them over the front of the fork to where you're looking at your fork and your bars are like that. And even in freestyle, if anything, like, man, mine, I'm not going to say not put them over, but not like super gnarly, but mine were always almost pretty level, like straight up and down. So they were a hair, but I would recommend using a taller bar for freestyle and a lower bar for moto. And the reason why you want a taller bar for freestyle, and obviously you don't want to use a bar with a crossbar for freestyle, because you got to get your feet through. And that's the whole reason why you want a taller bar for freestyle, because obviously it's going to create more room for your feet to get through the crossbar, because you got your hands are up here versus your hands being down here. So you get here, you're creating, not much, getting a little extra inch or so, inch and a half maybe, but that stuff means that makes a difference. And most of us either didn't run a crossbar or ran a shaved down one super low that barely covered the bolts. So it made that area as big as possible, and a lot of times you still kicked it off. So I actually never even ran one because I used to kick it off all the time. Like I said, I was a taller guy. But anyway, I would try better on the track. So we're little Eric Davis here with a little super chat love. He says, thank you, Mel, for always being there for me. Yes, sir, my brother. Thank you for being here week after week. And a little super chat love for me, Eric Davis. I was just reading Josh here, so it looks like he got crashed. Man, heal up, brother. It says looks like he went down. We got a little Josh up here, a little prayers for Josh. Looks like he went down. Got Jack. Oh, and Metzger, I just saw Metzger like broke his hand. He got the gas bike seriously like a month ago, and he got back. He hasn't been riding for a while, and then I just saw him post that he had to get surgery, broke his hand. And I'm like, dang, dirt bikes, dude, get you. All right, so here we go. Jess, it says putting the rise of the bars in line with the forks or the grips. I put the rise of the bars. So if you were looking, like, if you would look directly sideways and your fork's gonna come up like this, the angle of that bar, don't look at the grips, look at the angle of the bar that's mounted in your bar clamps or on your top triple clamp, and have that perfectly in line with the forks. That's how I do it. All right, so Trent, little love there. We got to get the MOTOLIFE trucker hat popping. All right, so here we go. We got Steven here. Favorite freestyle trick and to do and watch. All right, so my favorite freestyle trick, I would always say probably Kiss of Death and Double Knack were really two fun tricks that just look cool. That I could do. Favorite trick to watch, and I'm going with all upright tricks right now. Obviously, I mean, dude, there's so many tricks, and so many gnarly tricks. Probably one of the. What do you think? I think Superman flips, like big tsunami flips, look sick. I think that's probably one of the just styly tricks that just look super cool. And I've always for an upright trick, I always thought Holy grabs, right? Is that what they're called? Man, I can't even remember tricks. It's been so long. Yeah, when they pop back. So going from the bars, instead of going to a double grab, you pop out, float back into a double grab. They call them holy grabs because you got your hands out like the Holy Lord. They're sick looking. Mason, I'll give Mason props on that one. Mason had those dialed. He did those really good. But that's just a really cool upright trick that just looks super stylish. I'll go with those. I think some of the upright tricks look better than honestly some of the back. Even though some of the backflip tricks are harder and gnarlier, some of the upright tricks just look cooler, in my opinion. All right, so let's see. We got Grizzle here. It says, would you say foam fits are a thing of the past and get an airbag set up? Man, I feel like guys still use, I feel like they use both. I feel like they still use their foam pit to kind of get the get the early, you know, learn the trick, and then they kind of go to the airbag to kind of like next step it. But man, that's a good question. Because it's not like either of them are cheap. It's not like, hey, get both. But some of the guys, I guess, I mean, some of the guys probably do have both. I've heard this from Taka. Because this is what gets me on, like, I've only used the foam pit. I've actually never used the airbag, but Taka told me the airbag sucks. And ask Vicky Golden about the airbag too. The problem with the airbag is it bucks you off sometimes. You can totally stick your trick, but then you hit the airbag and it totally does one of those, whoop, and kicks you off. So I personally can't give you my insight because I never jumped on one, but coming from some other people that have had them get the crappier end of the stick on airbags. But foam pits can be sketchy too. So don't act like foam pits are awesome either. Because think about this. You're jumping an 80-foot gap, 75-foot gap. 75-foot gap, let's say you're going 30 miles per hour or so, 30, 35, and you're probably at least 25 to 30 feet to a dead stop. Does that sound fun? It's not as fun as everybody thinks. It guts you. And dude, they can catch on fire. We lost a rider from Japan. The foam pit caught on fire, and he did not get out. So one I would pick, because it's hard to say that when you never rode the airbag to say which one I personally think is better. But I have heard people not say. And here's a think about this one. Here's the deal. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna make a decision for you. Go with the foam pit if you're gonna spend the money. This is why the airbag pops. And the reason I know that is because, and they're not cheap, they're like 20 G's. 20 G's, and Harry Bink did one of his tricks when he was over here from Australia and popped Taka's airbag. Taka was really bummed about it. So 20 G's out the window with the blowout. It's on fire and burned down too, so there you go. And Metzger's did. Remember that? Back in the day, Metzger's foam pit caught on fire and burnt down. So, hey, I guess I can't answer for it. Anything can happen these days. All right, so Ace is the place. What was your first tattoo? So my very first tattoo was a dragon on my right foot. It's like about this big. And I covered it up now because it was weak looking. But I got it because I got it when I was 14 years old. Big Feist took me. The guy who lived on my street was named Al. I can't remember his last name, but anyway, he owned this tattoo shop in town. Rode a Harley, big, heavyset dude, big beard, like standard Harley dude, tattooed out of it. Like he used to tattoo at the 4-H fair out of this ghetto trailer, but then he did have a shop downtown. Anyway, he tattooed it, and it was a dragon, and it was inspired off my old karate instructor, Bob Del Ross, who had a sick dragon. He had a really cool dragon, started on his foot and wrapped up around his ankle. So I was a 14-year-old kid, wanted to be like Sensei, and tattooed the little weak dragon on my foot. So I had to cover it up because it didn't look that cool. So now I got two Japanese Oni mans. Big Feist went with me because I was 14. He didn't think I was going to do it. And I remember I told Al, I was like, hey, I want it on my foot. And he's like, it's not going to feel good on your foot. You sure you don't want it on your leg? And I was already committed. I was like, no, it's going on the foot. Sensei has it on the foot. It's going on the foot. And I remember he's like, I'll hit you dry. Let me hit you dry on your foot and your leg, and you tell me where you want it. And I'm going to admit, the foot was a lot more intense than the leg, but I still went for it. But anyway, good times. That's where it all started. I remember I went for 4. I had 4 tattoos before. Each year, I feel like I got one more tattoo. And then by the time I left for California, me and Metzger were friends, and that was over after that. Metz started tattooing me nonstop. All right, boom, V-Dubs in the house. V-Dubsky, man, welcome back, brother. We missed you. All right, says, hello, Feist folks. I hope you're all having a good week. Here's a little cash to help with the program. All right, V-Dubs, well, we hope you're doing well. I know you were having headaches. Hope your mom's doing well. Hope everybody's doing good on the V-Dubsky side. And thank you always for the generosity and being here week after week, brother. And we're all doing good over here, brother. Here we go. Steven. Is preload important on a 4-stroke when jumping? Yeah, I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, whether you're on a 250 2-stroke or a 4-stroke, I feel like the technique of jumping doesn't necessarily change. Like whether you're going to, how much you're going to preload in the jump or or if you're going to seat balance a jump, I feel like all the technique of jumping's the same. Just the way the bike just reacts a little bit is different from the 4-stroke to the 2-stroke. Like 2-stroke just has that like really snappy, like explosive power, where the 4-stroke's a little bit more torquier and feels like it tracks longer. Where the 2-stroke, yeah. So I feel like that's the difference. But as far as the way you would jump, I think you would keep all your technique the same, for sure. Just different throttle control for the 2-stroke and the 4-stroke. But keep everything else. All right, here we go. We got Lauren here. Do I know? I don't know if I know Biggie Zoid. He go. Yeah, I don't know. Said he's coming to Ohio after Christmas to give me some training. Well, sweet, man. Well, I don't know if I know him, but yeah, man, that's good to get some training in. There's our homie. Get our homie up here, Kenny Gus, all the way from Australia, hanging out with us. What up, what up, what up, my brother? All right, hopefully. Oh, wait, here's Thomas Kimberly with a question. Let's get Thomas up here. All right, it says, hey, man. He says, hey, man, do you work the clutch on a 254 stroke like you don't a 125 2-stroke? Wait, let me read this again. Hey, man, do you work the clutch on a 254 stroke like you don't a 125 2-stroke? Do help get the bike to speed faster. Lacks the torque of a 450. So what I think he's asking, do you work the clutch on a 454 stroke? Here's the deal. The 2-strokes, you're always going to have to work the clutch more than a 4-stroke. Because the bike has that, you got to keep the bike in its RPM. So you got to definitely use more clutch. On my 450, and even on a 250, my 450, I use less clutch in the corners, except for on exit. And I try to work that. That is something I've asked other riders that are way better than me as far as racers. Like, I've asked Cole Seeley, I've asked Trey Kennard. These dudes are factory Honda guys. I said, do you use a lot of clutch in the corner? And both of those dudes said no. They on 4-stroke, 454 stroke. They said they roll it on and use their clutch later in the corner. So that was a technique I was like, because if you grow up on a 2-stroke, it's so easy to get in the habit of using your clutch all the time because you're a 2-stroke guy. So then you get on your 4-stroke and then out of habit of riding a 2-stroke, and you're all super aggressive with the clutch. You actually remember, smooth is fast. So, and you want traction. If you explode the clutch, you can just spin the back wheel. If you can roll it and just find traction, which is really easy to do on a full stroke, especially a 450 because it has so much torque. You come in and roll. Come in, roll it, pick it up, and then on exit, clutch, but control clutch. Just a little bit of feed. So that's how I've been focusing, doing that. And you can still run that same technique on a 250 4-stroke as well. But on the 2-strokes, it's different. The 2-strokes, if you come in and you don't really touch the clutch and you just try to roll into it, you could have it, especially on a 125, it'll go bull, or 80, bull. So you have to almost come in, and then I like to call it a control feed. So where you feed the clutch and roll the plow at the same time. So you bring up the R's a little bit. It's like a start. Figure, if you're a 2-stroke guy, figure every corner should be like a start. So where you're bringing up the R's, you're rolling into it, smooth. At the same time, you're feeding controlled power. That's how I like to ride a 2-stroke out of a corner. So definitely going to need more clutch on those 2-strokes. But practice for 4-stroke guys trying to roll, but still use the clutch. I'm not saying no clutch, just later with it. Instead of being aggressive with it early, try to roll and use it later in the corner. It's actually a fun thing to do. Like, I like to call these things like drill laps. I work with like some of my guys at the end of the day. When we finish up a class, I'll say, hey, let's do some drill laps. And we'll pick one. Because here's the thing. We'll go through so much stuff. I do 5 hours. So in a 5-hour class, we go over almost everything. I try to give them everything I can. But when you're learning and you're trying to think of stuff, you know, it's hard to remember everything all at one time. So then it's good to, at the end of the day, or whenever. I do this with my guys at the end of the day. But when you guys are home practicing, it's good to do, like I said, a focus lap or where you think of one thing, you know, a drill lap, where all you're going to focus on, and maybe, like I said, maybe it is the clutch, the roll with the late clutch, and every single corner for a whole lap is all you're focusing on is go roll it on, late clutch, roll it on, late clutch. And then I do, you know, a full lap of work, like it's a lot of guys ride in the ball of or the arch of their foot. So I always try to get guys up on the balls of their feet. So their work, you know, you ain't giving up nothing. You're using your arms, you're using your legs, you're using your ankles. You want everything. Motocross is gnarly. You don't give up your ankles. You want your ankles. You gotta get on the balls of your feet so your ankles work. You know? I always give that picture. No one's gonna get on a picnic table and jump off and land flat-footed. Why? Because it's gonna hurt, right? Why would you ride your dirt bike like that? No. Get up on the balls of your feet. Land soft on the bike. Like absorb it. Use everything you got. You need everything you got. It's gnarly sport. So sometimes we'll do a drill lap, one lap, balls of your feet. So the whole time you're doing a lap, just make sure you're on balls of your feet. You know, always. And then do elbows up, whatever it is. Like you can pick anything. You can do elbows up. You can do, you know, gripping with your legs. You can do balls of the feet. You can do rolling the clutch. You could do look ahead, you know, come out of every single corner and make sure you're looking ahead. And like I say, and then you have to develop these techniques over and over and over. And that's the only way to develop them, to where you don't have to go out there and think about them. They should be muscle memory. You should be able to go out there and look at lines and think about charging and being aggressive, like as a racer. And then your arms, your balls of your feet, your eyes, all that stuff should have been already practiced so much that you naturally do that without thinking. When Ken Rocks is out on the track, he's not thinking about where his elbows are and if he's gripping with his legs. No, it comes nature. It's second nature. You just do it because you've trained your body to do it. But as you're learning, you got to think about those things. And sometimes it gets hard to remember 10 things at once, 5 things at once. So just focus on one thing. Sometimes you can focus on 2 things. You know, where's your butt on the seat? A lot of guys sit too far back, especially in beginners. They sit on the seat and they're sitting too far back, and then they like to dangle their leg to the side rather than keep the leg in. So that's another thing. Go ride and make sure you're in the sweet spot every single time, sitting in the sweet spot of the seat. And then maybe it's leg up. If your guy's dragging his leg up. Go through especially on a ruddy track, go through the entire track and try not to touch your foot. Try to touch every corner, leg high. If you dab your foot, make a note of it. I dabbed in that corner. Next time through, try to get it up higher. You don't dab your foot. Just little fun little drills like that, like seriously help you learn and develop as a rider faster and faster. You need to have good practice. My coach always told me that practice didn't make perfect. He's always told me good practice make perfect. Like, don't just go out and practice and just drill laps and just practice bad habits. No, go out there with focused practice. Like, what are we working on today? Like, that's how professional teams practice. Professional teams don't go out and just do scrimmages and play. They run drills. They run calisthenics. They work on techniques. It's the same thing in motocross. Like, there's a time and a place to go do laps, but you should be practicing other things to develop yourself as a rider all throughout the week. And know where you're weak. Where are you weak? Where are you struggling? Is it your corners that you need to work on? Is it your starts? Is it the whoops? And whatever it is, that's where you put your focus. If your starts stink, then you need to be drilling starts all week long, every single week until you get good starts. If you're getting past into whoops, then that's where you should be working. You should be working on your whoops. Put your focus there. Same thing in freestyle. If your seat grabs suck, well, guess what? What should you be practicing on the week? I work on these seat grabs. Why? Because they're not that good. So if you have that, you make all those weak areas your strong points in time. Because Big Fights will tell you, when I first started trying to learn to kiss death, it was so weak and embarrassing looking. It was like it looked like a no footer, like down by this. It was like barely a Superman. I was like no footing like this, and then it was like a goofy Superman, and it slowly. But I practiced it every day. I wanted that trick. It took me seriously like a year to learn that trick good, maybe even longer. But you have to have that focused practice where every day I knew I'm going out, I'm doing 10, 15 Superman or KODs right off the bat. I'm going to work on that trick 10, 15 times. Then I'll go to my next trick. Whatever. You got to.
Maze landing RMX school.
So it's been kicked around that I don't know if it'll be a Maze Landing because I don't think there's a track in Maze Landing. So the question is, will I do a motocross school in Maze Landing? It's the hometown I grew up in. Like I said, there's a good chance I'm going to do a New Jersey class. sometime maybe next year. I've already had a couple different people hit me up about it. It's just working out the details of what track it's going to be and how I got to figure out a bike and all that. See my friends and teach them guys. I grew up riding, so I'm all about it. So it's definitely probably going to happen, but I doubt it'd be in Mays Landing because I don't think there's a track. Big shout out for everybody being here. And man, it looks like I missed there's so many questions and comments, dude. Sorry, I go so slow. Sometimes I take too long to answer questions. I love the details. So hey, thanks again, man. And we'll be back next Monday. I'm trying to think anything else coming up. What do we got coming up? Christmas is not this weekend, right? It's the following weekend. So we'll see you guys next Monday, and we'll sure to give you guys a little. I guess Mel's give me a little shout out. Ronnie Faisst MX for all the merch. And the new hoodie is available if you just got on. And here's the deal. Yo, if you guys like these things, give it a thumbs up. And if I missed your question and you want to ask your question, you can always just post a comment on the video afterwards, and I'll try to get back to it and answer it. And, yeah. Ronnie Faisst MX. MOTOLIFE, baby. See you next week. Moto family. Peace out.